Welcome, ladies, to the YL OP NET. This is Catherine, AC4YL, Net Control for this evening's net. We meet every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Echolink ALARA Conference node. Be sure to invite all YLs you know to join us. We ask that only YLs or female ham radio operators check in and participate. The purpose of this net is to encourage you to become and stay active with amateur radio, help each other enhance our operating knowledge and skills, and have fun. During the net, please feel free to join us in the NFARL Do-Drop-In chat room by opening any web browser and going to nfarl.dodropin.org. Just put your name -- call sign in the box and then click log in. YLs who would like to check in, please give us your call sign, name, and current location. And don't forget that there is a 3 to 4 second delay when transmitting through Echolink. This is Catherine, AC4YL. We will now begin taking check-ins. Please call now.
VE3, Mike in the Oscar, Maureen in Wyerton, Ontario.
Kilo Charlie 8 Uniform Foxtrot Victor, Chrissy in Toledo, Ohio.
ACA TKY Linda, Knox, Indiana.
AE7MB, Margaret, Battleground, Washington.
KWYL, Brenda, New Haven, Connecticut.
Victor Echo 3, Bravo Hotel Golf, April in Welland, Ontario, Canada.
Okay, very good. Great group so far. Let's see who we have. We have Maureen, VE3MIO in Ontario, Chrissy, KC8UFV in Ohio, Linda, KC8PKY in Indiana, Margaret, AE7MB in Washington, Brenda, KW1YL in Connecticut, and April, VE3BHG in Ontario. All right, do we have any other YLs who'd like to check in? Please call now.
KB4RM, Rosemary, Texas.
Okay, also joining us this evening is Rosemary, KB4RM in Texas, and I do see Susie, N8CGM, with us in Ohio. That's great. Maureen, I know you're short time. I don't know if you have disconnected already. It looks like you might have. But if you're still there, if you'd like to say anything real quick before you have to go, please go ahead. Okay, looks like she might have popped on out of here. She did make a comment in there, but she, for those of you that aren't on the chat and are just listening in, Maureen just got her new knee on the 26th of September and got home on the 28th, so she's going through the healing of all that. So she's just in here to, at least we got to hear her say hello to everybody, so that's awesome. And good to see her in the chat this evening, and we wish her the best with healing on that, and hopefully she'll do whatever physical therapy they recommend for that. So, all right, very good. Nice group here this evening. So, what I thought we'd do is go down the list here and just give everybody a chance to tell us if you have any announcements, news, updates, or anything else that you would like to share with the group here this evening. Also, if you'd like to share with the group, well, first of all, before we do that, just an announcement in case you didn't see it on the OP NET Facebook group. So, as of 2 days ago, this marks the fourth year anniversary of this net. So it's been going for quite a while, and I want to extend a warm thanks to all the YLs on here this evening with us, any who are listening in and may not have checked in, and those that may listen to the recording later, for your support of this net, for being here when you can. And some of you have been here since day one, and that is just awesome. I can't thank you enough for the support and encouragement that I certainly have received from this net over the last 4 years. Special thanks to Lori, K4UPI, and Melanie, AG4YL, for helping me keep this net going for this time as well. So wanted to extend that and make that announcement. And also to comment that, let me pause for reset here. I also wanted to comment that I did see that one of the YLs posted on Facebook. You know, Facebook does what they call a friendiversary thing. You know, when you've been a friend with somebody on Facebook for like a year or 2 years or whatever, it does this little celebratory thing, which is kind of cool. Why am I bringing this up? Well, it actually kind of was the inspiration for the topic of this net, and as I mentioned, this net has been going for 4 years as of 2 days ago. It kicked off on the 2nd of October of 2014, and you know, you gals have certainly been an inspiration and encouragement to me over the last 4 years, and so I wanted to be sure and express my thanks for that. And the YL that posted on the Facebook group had mentioned that the person that she was celebrating her Facebook friendiversary with was the first YL ham she had actually made contact with. And so I thought the post that she had made was very, very kind, and is kind of what is so wonderful about this hobby, is when we can meet each other through the world of amateur radio and get to know each other and learn from each other and spend time together, either in person at Hamfest or at club meetings or you know, ham radio events, or whether we do it, you know, on the radio through Echolink or through HF or you know, all of those different modes, digital, all those different modes we have to communicate with each other and have fun in this great hobby and get to know one another. Some of us that we might not have ever met if it wasn't for this hobby. So I just wanted to share that, and that was kind of the inspiration for the topic tonight. So what I thought we'd do is go down the check-in list and give you gals an opportunity to tell us who has inspired you in amateur radio and encouraged you since you became a ham or to even get your license. So you can share that as we go down the list as well. Let me pause for reset. Okay, so we've had a couple YLs join us this evening. So real quick, I'd like to welcome those gals. Nisi, K-A-1-U-L-N, has joined us, and Ann, N-1-Y-L, in Massachusetts has joined us, and Carrie, K-N-4-J-A-K, in Georgia has also joined us. I think that is everyone. It's everyone I can see listed, and Lauren, KC9ZHV, Lauren, if you're out there listening, good evening to you as well. And we appreciate all you do with recording and getting those recordings posted whenever you can. I know you've got a crazy schedule and lots of things going on, but you somehow managed to work us in, and we appreciate that. All right, so with that, we'll go ahead and kick it off here. And I guess I'll go ahead and go first. So, you know, my inspiration for becoming a ham is kind of different. I didn't have family members that were ham radio operators. So what actually inspired me to get my license or get an interest and explore the world of amateur radio was a British television series called Wish Me Luck. And I know I've brought this up before, but some of you gals may not have heard it. But if you have not checked it out, I encourage you to check it out and explore it. It's about what they call the operative, which was underground British agents going into occupied France during World War II. And the series kind of focused a little bit more from the women's side, because they were training women to also go in and be operatives in that. So what kind of inspired me is they would send over, of course, wireless operators that would exchange messages and send them back to HQ or headquarters, get information, updates on what's going on, what things are like, and what they were able to accomplish on their mission over there in occupied France. So I thought it was so cool that you could talk around the world just with a wire. That was amazing to me. So that was kind of my inspiration for getting my ham radio license. And but in that kind of journey along the way, I actually had a family acquaintance at the time that was an amateur radio operator who recommended going to arrl.org and looking for local clubs and finding one in the area that I could kind of get together with some folks and also find information about how to get my amateur radio license. So that's what I did. I got my license and then got with a local club there to get that, and then found another club that I'm a current member of, and I had a lot of wonderful Elmers and Elmiras there that were very supportive in helping me borrow a radio, get familiar with HF, get on the air, explore the world of contesting, field day, CW, just you know, chasing DX, and all the wonderful things that this hobby can bring. And so there were several OMs in the club that have been a great help to me over the last 5 years that I've been licensed. Wow, has it been that long? And so without their help, I probably wouldn't, it would have taken me much longer, I'll put it that way, to figure out what I needed to get and set up and get on the air. And some of those hams were Chuck, AE4CW, and Jim, W4QO, and John, N4TOL, and several others in the group. And then, you know, along the way, I met some other great hams, Lori, K4UPI, which helped me get this net going and helped me get the topics and support from the Wiles in the club. And we had a lot of fun together getting things up and going. And then, of course, Melanie, AG4YL, has been a great support in helping me represent YLRL at HamFest and meeting all kinds of YLs in different areas and having fun doing that as well. And, you know, there were others, but I think so we'll leave it at that for now. But those particular folks were a great inspiration and helped me and continue to be as I make my journey through the world of amateur radio. And, of course, all of you gals that and your support being here on the net. I've learned a lot from you, too. Nisi, I think, has been here since the beginning, and Margaret as well. And I know Ann, who's not on with us this evening, But and I think Linda's been here for quite some time too. So anyway, with that, I'll go ahead and move on to Chrissy, KC8UFE. Chrissy, do you have any announcements or news, or you want to just update the group with how you've been and what you've been up to? And then if you'd like to share with the group who's been an inspiration and a help to you in amateur radio, KC8UFE, AC4YL with the group.
Well, I've been busy as always. Some mostly non-amateur radio stuff, although I've been doing a little bit of maintenance on our repeaters here, working on getting the W8HF repeaters onto Echolink and All-Star so that that can actually auto-link for this net as well as possibly a couple other nets. So doing some prep work for that, as well as just busy with some other organizations. As far as how I got into the hobby, well, I've always been a bit of an autodidact. As a kid, I would always go to the library. Been into electronics since I was a little kid, and pretty much all of the electronics books at the library had amateur radio projects in them. So you'd get into that to see you'd see all sorts of projects, and that kind of sparked my interest. I tried studying off and on a bit through high school, never made it till I was around to actually taking my test till I was about 20 or so, and that got me into some other things. So I don't really have any specific people that inspired me. The whole community kind of has been helpful. Helped me get a lot better on the technical side and learn quite a bit on how things work and such. So I'm going to pass it back to the net, KC8UFE.
Okay, very good, Chrissy. Well, it's good to catch up with you, and thanks so much for sharing that with the group here. And you know, that's great. That's true too. You know, you can learn from other ways too, from forums or websites or books, or those can also be an inspiration and a help in the hobby as well. So very good, Chrissy. Well, it was good to hear from you, and we're glad to have you here with us this evening. And next up is Linda, KC8PKY. Linda, how have you been, and what's going on out your way? And what were some people, or who were some people that have been an inspiration to you in amateur radio? KC8PKY, AC4YL with the group.
Okay, well, right now I'm working on setting up my own station in my office. We have one set up in my husband's office, but sometimes it gets a little crowded in there. So we decided I moved my rig, and we ordered a long wire, a 160-meter dipole, and a thing to shoot it up in the tree with. So we're going to put that up. But as far as getting involved in amateur radio, we went to breakfast one time. My husband had been in it before and got back into it. And we went to breakfast with the Motor City Radio Club. And it happened to be a day they were having a fox hunt. And we had an all-gals team. There were 3 other gals that were going out. So I got invited to go with them and decided that it would be a lot more fun if I had a license. And that got me going. And there was one other gentleman involved in the club. And he came to me one day and he gave me some stuff and he says, "We're going to make an amateur out of you." So they did. And with that, back to the net. KC8PKY.
All right, very good, Linda. Well, that's awesome. That's a fun beginning, and I guess that kind of is why you still love fox hunting to this day. That's kind of your start and inspiration. That's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that, Linda, and glad you guys are doing well. It's good to hear from you, too. Let's see. Rhonda, KK6VST, has joined us this evening, so welcome to the net. We're glad to have you with us. And what we're doing this evening, Rhonda, is we're just we're celebrating 4 years this net's been on the air, and we're going through and just going down the check-in list and giving everybody a chance to share their announcements or stories or updates or anything that they have for the net this evening, as well as Elmers and Elmiras that have inspired them to either get started in amateur radio or continue on and learn new things. And so we're giving everybody a chance to do that. So we're just going down the check-in list, so we'll get to you in just a little bit here. So I just wanted to update you on what we've been up to. All right, so next up is Margaret, AE7MB. So Margaret, how are you, and who has been your Elmer and Elmira's over the years you've been licensed? AE7MB, AC4YL with the group.
Whiskey Alpha 4, Yankee Lima, Jordan, Florida.
Okay. Whew. Wow, that was fun. A little issue with the K4EX repeater, it looks like. Heard Dawn there for a minute, but then we had a ping pong volley going on. That's always fun. Anyway, I need to, well, I'll have to talk to Chris offline about that, see if we can get that squared away. But anyways, back over to Margaret, AE7MB. Please go ahead from AC4YL and the net.
Okay, I think it's safe now. Yeah, that was kind of fun. First of all, happy anniversary to Catherine and Melanie and the rest of the crew. I'm one of your originals, and I'm proud to be one of your originals. I got started in amateur radio just after we got married. My husband had been a ham for about 10 years, and in fact, his best man was and still is a ham. And I knew that it was important to him, so the following year when he was sent to Denver for 15 weeks while the local radio club was running novice classes, and I took the novice technician exam and passed it. And that was my first anniversary gift to my husband. So my husband has been one of my Elmers. Another Elmer, well, actually an Elmira, is Barbara Yassin, AC7UH, who, when we moved to California, to Washington, was one of the first women hams that I knew, that I met. And she was at a VE session where we attended when we wanted to change our address, and she got me involved with the local radio club, with the local YL net, and all I can say is the rest is history. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And so with that, I'm going to turn it back to you, Catherine. This is AE7MB over to let's see, AC4YL.
All right, very good, Margaret. And yes, you've been here since day one, and it's been great having you here on the net. In fact, you and Ann were inspirations for this net, so thank you. And it's great to have you here with us. And what a great story! That's awesome. And that's a way to get going in amateur radio, and a nice way to celebrate there. So that's awesome. So thanks so much for sharing that with the group here, Margaret, and thanks again for being here and encouraging us and helping other YLs and encouraging them, because you do a wonderful job running those classes, or they wouldn't still be going. And so that's great, and looking forward to hopefully meeting Barbara one of these days, hopefully next year, if not the year after. So we'll see if we can't get together with her out there in Oregon one of these upcoming years soon, hopefully in the next 1 to 3 years or so. So very good, awesome. Dawn has joined us, WA4YL. Hello there, Dawn. Good to have you here with us. And let's see, next up is Brenda, KW1YL. Brenda, how are you? What's going on up your way? And who's been a great inspiration to you in amateur radio that you'd like to share with the group this evening?
Thanks, Catherine. This is KW1YL, Brenda in New Haven. And yes, I do believe that my post must have been at least one of the ones that might have inspired you for this, because it was my friendiversary with Jenny from the UK, who actually told me about this group. And I'm just so grateful to her for telling me about this group, because I look forward to this every single week. And right now I'm at Make Haven, which I've mentioned many times. It's where my husband and I are working on a radio station, a web SDR, experimental bench, and so forth. We're here tonight. We're not usually here on Thursday nights, but there's a special event about solar energy, energy sources, and Rich had an idea. Tri-solar power, so he was one of the many people who gave, a little presentation about ideas. So that's why I'm here at Make Haven. It's a little bit noisier than it usually is on Thursdays when I'm in my room. But anyway, so my Elmers and Elmiras, I have a whole bunch of them. First of all, my husband, of course, in 2011, he mentioned it, and then after a while, I did decide, okay, well, maybe I will do that, and it got more and more interesting the more I learned about amateur radio. But it didn't really take off until it got social, and it first got social with there's a breakfast group in New Haven, the Spark Breakfast Club, where one of the clubs in the area has breakfast every Saturday morning, and that's become an important part of my Saturday morning. So I met all these other guys, and I've learned a lot from all of them. But then I also was interested in trying to help out in emergencies and things like that. And I had a friend who his relatives in Puerto Rico, and during the disaster, they were trying to get through to people. And I knew there was an echo link where there was some kind of some way you can contact Puerto Rico, and so I was trying to mess around with Echolink and find out. Am I still on? Anyway, I was trying to find out how to do that, and I was just messing around, and I don't know where I was. I have no clue where I was. I was just exploring Echolink. Next thing you know, I get this message from Jenny, seeing that I'm trying to get into Echolink, and then she contacted me actually on Messenger and told me about this group and about the Messenger group and all the groups of YLs. And then when I found out there were all these YLs that I could join, and it could be like for me, not just me and my husband, but for me, I really took off. I really enjoyed the YL community. and the YLs that I've enjoyed, Nisi, who always puts my Roman marks in the harmonics, which, you know, I send them into her and to make sure they get in there. And then of course you, Catherine, and you've been an inspiration for the net control that I've ended up doing for the Spark Club, the same people that I had breakfast with. They have a net, and I net control once a month, and so I was inspired by that. And then Anne, WB1ARU, who was who invited me to make a presentation about what we're doing at Make Haven, and so I was able to do that, and so many others that I can't even count them all.
All right, we'll give her just a minute. Brenda's, I think, Echo Link timed out. I don't think you timed out the repeater there, Brenda, so no worries. But I'll pass it back on over to you so you can finish your comments there, Brenda. KW1YL, AC4YL with the group.
KW1YL, Catherine, could you tell me what the last thing was that you heard me say? I wasn't sure, you know, where I should start. Back to that.
Sure, Brenda, no problem. The last thing I heard you transmit is about you had so many Elmers and Elmires it was hard to name them all, and then I think you disappeared. Oh, no worries at all. You know, the good thing is you have your timeout thing set in, and you know sometimes it makes that noise, and once in a while mine doesn't make the noise, and I'll glance up at the screen and go, uh-oh, let me reset. So no worries, it happens to all of us. Back over to you, Brenda, KW1YL, AC4YL with the group.
Okay, well, when I said I had so many, I guess I had already named my husband and Jenny and all that, and then I was just going to talk about the other YFs that were on the Facebook group that I've read things by, and I mentioned Nisi and Rhea and Andrea, you know, reading things and listening to presentations and so forth. And then, of course, you, Catherine, being an inspiration for my being the net control on my Spark group once a month. So did I mention all that? I think you got everything before that. But anyway, so I'm hoping that I didn't overlook anything. KW1YL, back to net control.
Well, that's great. No worries at all, Brenda. We got all that, so awesome. Glad we didn't miss anything there. And yeah, you know, it's it's okay if you forget, you know, somebody to mention here. Just think about them, and you know, it's good to sometimes we forget to say thank you to them because you know you might ask a question and get a quick answer and go on about your day, and you know, everybody does that. And so I thought it was nice to take a net this evening and reflect on that since we're celebrating 4 years here being on the air, to reflect on the people that have really inspired us in amateur radio and really keep us going, and that we have good, fond memories with and spend time with and learn from, and hopefully share what we learn with others and help them too. So thanks, Brenda, for being here. It's great to have you here on the net, and thank you for your kind words there. And we really do have a great group of gals here, and that really are very encouraging and supportive. And, you know, that's what makes ham radio fun. So thanks, Brenda, for being here. Next up is April, VE3BHG. So, April, how are you? You got any news announcements or anything that you want to share with the group here? And then if you'd like to tell us who's been some of your inspirations here helping you along with amateur radio. Over to you, AC4YL here.
Oh, AC4YL, this is VE3BHG. This coming weekend is Thanksgiving here in Canada, so I'm getting ready for that, actually. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to stay for the whole net, but I'll try. Just trying to get some things together, and I've had a little bit of sinus lately, and somebody told me there's a virus going around that mimics allergies. It's not that bad, but it's just enough to be annoying. Anyway, I finally, this past Tuesday, was able to access the net of the ladies on the air through KD0WAU, Barb, and I think she was on this net and had invited people on, so I decided to give it a shot, and finally I was able to connect. And I seem to be the anomaly in the group. I'm the only Canadian, so they had all kinds of questions for me about how it was different and so forth and so on. So that was kind of fun. And this past, it was yesterday, I believe, I was at an event. It was just a little thing at a museum locally about the history of radio, which is kind of interesting because it intersects the history of ham radio, because it's similar technology. You know, the invention of the telegraph and so forth and so on. I met, the reason I went is because somebody that I went to Mohawk with back in the day, he has had a career in radio broadcasting, and I said to him, you know, maybe I should have graduated from the program, and he said, well, I didn't. But then he's been very busy. He said, I was too busy. By the time graduation came around, I was busy working. I didn't have time to write the exam. And, you know, I've always thought that piece of paper would have been handy. But anyways, so that's basically what's going on in my life. I'm going to have to pause for a reset here. Okay, VE3BHG returning. Noticed I didn't have to wait for the repeater this time. Usually I have to wait for the beep from the, actually the conference. Anyway, so that's basically what's been going on in my neck of the woods. I got into ham radio more out of curiosity than anything. It's like, I thought, this is something I'd like to do. I wonder what it takes to get into it. And so, of course, I looked it up, and I found that there was a local group, and I went to the meeting, and this is where I ended up with Phil as being my Elmer, so to speak, because he is the one who runs he's the accredited examiner, and so he said, well, this is what you have to do, this is how the course runs, and you know, this is what the requirements are. And so then I took the course, and I'm actually very happy that I did that, because it was kind of a little bit out of my comfort zone, learning about electricity and stuff. You know, I have a daughter who's an electrical engineer, so it's right up her alley. So if I have any technical questions, she's right there. I just don't have anything technical to ask her about right now. She said she didn't really do much with antennas. She was more onto the sort of RF end of things as to what frequencies work to do what with, because she was helping the military with radio jamming, and that's what she was doing. So kind of an interesting job. But so I can talk to her about it, whereas I can actually, as I said, she's one of the few that understands. So anyway, that's what I've been up to, and so I'll turn it back to you, AC4YL Catherine from VE3BHG.
Okay, very good, April. Well, thanks for sharing all those experiences with the gals here. That's awesome. You got a great story there to tell, and it's fun to hear how people got started and who's been supportive and helpful and inspirational, and even that in of itself can inspire others to check out some cool stuff. So thanks so much, April, and glad you're able to connect with the ladies on the air. I think that net's on Tuesday nights, I believe. You can maybe correct me if I'm wrong here. Oh, let me reset here. I don't know what's going on with this other repeater. Okay. I think this is still going. My echo link's acting weird. Anyway, so glad you're able to connect up, and I think they're on Tuesday evenings, which is great. I think it's wonderful, all these YL nets that are kicking off in different areas. I think Chattanooga, Tennessee, they're running one. I'm trying to remember what night of the week theirs is on, but it's great because before you know it, we'll have a YL net in different areas every night of the week. That's awesome. And then, of course, Wednesday evenings, you could try and catch up with Ann and the gals on, hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. I had a cat having an issue. Oh my goodness, you never know what's going to happen on this net, right? It's always a surprise. Oh, okay, thanks, April. Ladies on the air on Tuesdays at 9 o'clock Eastern. Okay, fantastic. Thanks for putting that in there. And, of course, you can reach out to Barb, KD0WAU, if you need access to the Echolink node to participate in that net. Okay, all right. Sorry, I'm still a little distracted from my cat that had an issue. Okay, she's fine. Susie, N8C GM's up next, and I don't think she's got her mic going, but I do see, Susie, your comment there in the Echolink chat. Your OM was kind of your inspiration to get the license, and so your OM got his, so you wanted one. That's awesome. And here you are playing radio. So great. Thanks so much, Susie, for posting that. And if you have anything else you want to add to that, just type it in the chat. I'll keep my eye out for it and make sure we share it with the gals here. Rosemarie is up next to KB4RM. Rosemarie, if you're in between bites of dinner, or can come on real quick if you'd like to just tell us how you're doing, what you've been up to, and kind of who's been great inspiration to you in the world of amateur radio. KB4RM, AC4YL in the group.
Okay, KB4RM, thank you. It seems so long ago. 92, I think I got my license, and the reason for that was actually they came out that you could take what was then a novice license, and you didn't know code or anything like that. It was just to study, and it was at the time when there was no cell telephone, believe it or not. And so it was my husband who said, why don't you take your license and I get you a 2-meter radio and we can use it as a telephone between us. So and I had a friend who got her license just because of that. So I did that, and so it was through him that I really got into ham radio. He had been on ham radio for a long time, but I just figured that wasn't for me. I could never learn Morse code. And so anyway, but once I got my novice license and my 2-meter radio, I right away, of course, as you know, I'm from Sweden, I said, I want to talk to Sweden. Oh, he said, you can't do that. You're going to have to study more. So I just went on until I finally got to the end of the year and had my advance, and then I could get onto DXing. So that's how it's gone, and of course I've done a lot of DXing. And so I guess I'll have to give my husband credit that he pushed me. And I tell you, learning Morse code, sitting in a car, driving through Europe, listening to the tapes, I remember so well. But anyway, with a few tries, I got through it. And of course, they took it, but I don't do any CW. The other thing I wanted to say, I guess you know that this weekend, 6 to 8, there's a DXNA-YL contest. So I guess for anyone who can be on the radio and get on contesting, they encourage all the YL to talk to each other. And also, you know, nice to meet other YL, and when they keep calling, they get an answer. So it starts 1400 UTC on October 6th. And that's Saturday, I guess, and then goes to Sunday, is it? 8? No, Monday. Oh, 2 o'clock, so I guess it'd be Sunday here, of course. So, but maybe you were going to talk about that later. So that was my story. Back to net control.
All right, what a great story, Rosemary. Thanks so much for sharing that with the group. That's awesome. So, you know, I guess it's more or less your husband introduced you and encouraged you, but then, you know, you kind of were inspired because you wanted to talk to, of course, your native homeland, Sweden, of course. That would be a great inspiration, no doubt, to get your license and upgrade your license there so you could do just that. That's awesome. So, I know you mentioned driving through Europe, listening to the tapes to learn CW. So, did you get licensed over there as well as over here in the States?
No, I didn't. We did go, after I had my license, we did portable in Germany and Austria almost every year. We brought our antenna, it was a vertical antenna, and we brought you know, the radio and all that, and we worked from parking lots here and there up in the Alps where we went hiking, and then we would spend one day in the parking lot. But you didn't need you could use your American license and just, you know, say that you were in Europe. So, no, I didn't get that. And why I was the CW? No, because I was working on my license here, and of course needed to, you know, take the test. So, as I said, I was just working on the CWs. When I returned from my trip, I should be able to go and take the test. Didn't work out well first time, but I made it eventually. And I guess that was for the what's that, general license then? 15 words a minute, I guess. Yeah, general license at that time, and then it was advanced, which was no code. And I didn't go for extra until they took the code away. Okay, back to you.
That's awesome, Rosemary. Well, thanks for the additional fun facts there. That's cool. It's great to get to know your ham radio history a little bit there. That's lots of good fun. That's great. Thanks so much for sharing, and it's wonderful to have you here on the net as well. Rosemary, I think you've been here for quite a while, since, if not the very beginning, not long after. So we thank you very much for being here. All right, and thanks for bringing up the DXNAYL contest sponsored by YLRL, and I'm sure Nisi probably has some good info on that too. I guess who's up next? KA1ULN. So Nisi, come on in and tell us what's new with you, and if you would like to go ahead and share any more detail on the contest this weekend, and who's been inspiration to you in amateur radio. KA1ULN, AC4YL with the group.
Hey, Kat. Hi, YLs. This is Nisi. I'm doing 3, 4, 5 things here. The Patriots are playing. I know all the one calls here. I know they're watching it too. I'm listening. This is a big game for us. So, yes, the DXYL, and you can see all the details on www.ylrl.org, and if you click on contests, it's the third tab down. It tells you, gives you all the information you need about the DXYL contest, and so it starts Saturday at 1400 UTC. What does that mean? Is that 12 noon Eastern Standard? Something like that. And it goes until Sunday night. It goes till Sunday night. So you call CQYL, I'm sure, CQYL or CQDXYL to have a QSO with a DX person. So for us in the U.S., we would call CQDX, and we'll hopefully get somebody in China. Lately on FT8, I've been seeing in Massachusetts, I've been seeing Japan and China. It's been amazing. The FT8 has been amazing. 20 meters and 40 meters at night has been truly incredible. Let's see, what else? I really appreciate this net. And appreciate you, Catherine, for taking your time. This is your time every week, and I'm sure you do a lot more prep than we do. We just get on and listen to you mostly, but you do a lot of prep and things like that. So thank you so much. I'm waiting for this to go live. I'm waiting for it to go video. I thought they were working on a video echo link, but I don't know. So I think that's all I have. KA1ULN back to net.
All right, very good, Nisi. Awesome. Yeah, I went ahead and posted the links for the YLRL DXYL contest and the times. You mentioned 1400 UTC on the 6th and 0200 UTC on the 8th. We're 4 hours behind UTC time on the East Coast here, so that would be 10 a.m. Eastern Saturday morning through 10 p.m. Eastern Sunday evening. So you've got some time there to play some radio and work some YLs on the air, hopefully. And as Nisi mentioned, you can find all the info on ylrl.org. You can scroll down and click on contests if you don't have access to the link here in the EchoLink chat. So thanks, Nisi, for that, and I hope everything works out with the game there. So it's great having you here on the net. You've been a great inspiration to everyone here, I'm sure, and helping us along with our antenna questions and dipoles and just your overall support and excitement in amateur radio. It's contagious. So awesome. It's great to have you, Nisi, and wonderful to hear from you. And Hope that game turns out in your favor there. All right, awesome. Let me just check my list here and see who is next. N1YL, Ann, up in Massachusetts. Ann, what have you been up to? What's new? And who's been inspiration to you in amateur radio? N1YL, AC4YL with the group.
Hi, Catherine, and the rest of the group. What's newest with me is my call sign. I was formerly KC1CRS, and for the first time ever, I put in for a vanity call sign and got a really cool one, and feel like it's a real honor that it was a woman who was from Connecticut and who was interested also in emergency services, so that's really special. My inspiration was I helped my 14-year-old grandson study for his technician test, and then I went to the 100-year ARRL anniversary and wanted those QSL cards really bad. And then I got interested in contesting, and then I started working on community events because I like the races and that, because we don't have cell service along the river and in the hills here, so they love to have ham radio operators work at those events. And then I like the VE stuff, and then the fox hunting, and then running the GOTA stations, so pretty much I've liked everything in ham radio. And my inspiration was my husband, KU1N, who was a ham for a long time, and who has recently really been helping me with my CW as well as CW Academy. The women that I met in Boxborough got me hooked on a Wednesday morning, Yankee Lassie's Net and this Echo Link Net. And I guess that's it for me. Back to net.
Well, that's great, Ann. Congratulations on the vanity call sign, and that's always fun. And sounds like you have been having lots of fun exploring different avenues of amateur radio. That is a lot of fun and kind of what it's all about. So awesome! Well, we're so glad to have you here, and thanks for sharing who your inspirational folks and events have been here in amateur radio. It's great to have you here with us, and hopefully we'll be able to catch you more often, so awesome. Next up is Carrie, KN4JAK. I don't see you in my list anymore, but perhaps you dropped down below where I can't see because Echolink likes to cut the list off. So Carrie, if you are there with us still, KN4JAK, if you'd like to come in and tell us what you've been up to, anything in amateur radio, and kind of how you got started and who's been an inspiration to you in the hobby. KN4JAK, AC4YL with the group. Okay, maybe Carrie had to leave us early here. All right, very good. Next up, I have Rhonda. If Rhonda's still here with us, I think at least one person's cut off my list here because it says we have 15 people connected, but I only see 14 on my list, so somebody's gotten cut off down there at the bottom that I can't see. Let's see if it's Rhonda, KK6VST. If you're there and like to come in and tell us how you're doing and who's been an inspiration to you in ham radio, we'll pass the mic over to you. KK6VSTAC4YL with the group. Okay, not hearing Rhonda either. Let's see, Dawn, WA4YL. Let's see if you're still out here with us. and you'd like to come in and tell us what you've been up to and who's been an inspiration to you in amateur radio, WA4YL, AC4YL with the group. Okay, looks like we lost Dawn here, but that's okay. We got Judy, KE7IXI. Good evening, Judy. We're glad to have you here with us, and maybe you'd like to come in and tell us what you've been up to lately and who's been an inspiration to you in amateur radio. KE7IXI, AC4YL with the group.
Hello, this is Judy from Arizona. Well, it's been a busy week. Grades have to be in because I teach school, a lot of testing going on. But guess what? Next week is fall break. That means on the radio. Woohoo! Anyways, but my inspiration was, of course, my husband, too. At the time when my husband was still working, he did a lot of traveling over to California. And the little town he was in, cell phone coverage was horrible. So he got back, and I started studying up, and next thing I knew it, we were able to talk on the radio together, and I did a lot of practicing, but it's just been so much fun. I've just really enjoyed it, and we used the Cattaraugus connection we did, and that's how we made it over. And I was able to talk back and forth, Arizona to California, and vice versa. And but anyways, I've just really been enjoying the hobby so much, and our club too, learning new things and kit building and learning how to tune up an antenna, and it's just been wonderful. And I also want to say that I enjoy every Thursday evening with talking with all of you and listening to everything our group is up to, and it's just been wonderful. Back to you, Catherine.
Well, that's great, Judy, and it's certainly wonderful to have you here with us on Thursday evenings. And thanks so much for coming in and sharing your experiences here with the group. Is awesome. And yeah, it's amazing how the clubs can do so much, and you can learn so much from a group, because you got a nice group of hams right there to encourage and help you out and learn new stuff and exchange information and knowledge and fun stuff. So that's awesome, Judy. It's wonderful to hear you this evening. We're so glad that you're here as well. I think that's all the YLs I have in the list here. I don't recall hearing anyone check in from the K4LYL repeater in Virginia, so do we have any YLs out there listening that would like to come in and say hello to the group here? Please go ahead, AC4YL. Okay, not hearing anyone coming in. So we talked a little bit, well, first of all, thanks everybody for sharing your experiences and the people that have been a great inspiration to you in amateur radio. This was fun, and it was enjoyable to hear your different experiences and your stories there. We talked about the RLDX NA anniversary contest this weekend. There's a lot of things going on, so the bands should be hopping. Just to mention a few, there's the Oceania DX contest on phone, Russian Worldwide Digital Contest. If you need California in your log, the California QSO party's going on this weekend. Fifth Fall Slow Speed Sprint, and SKCC QSO party if you need some CW practice there. RSGB DX contest from the UK is on this weekend. And 1010 International 1010 Day Sprint is coming up on the 10th. So that'll be here before we know it as well if you want to experiment on 10 meters. And another fun event going on this weekend that's really, excuse me, short and sweet. It's called the Peanut Power QRP Sprint. And I think the name is really cool and fun. And, you know, we talk about different classes that you can fall under during a contest, like high power, low power, you know, QRP, or, you know, single operator, multi-operator, that kind of thing. Well, this one's a fun contest because the classes all have to do with, you know, peanuts. So if you're operating, for example, 1 watt CW or 2 watt single sideband portable, you're a goober. 5 watt CW or 10 watt single sideband, you're salted. 1 watt CW, 2 watt single sideband home, boiled. 5 watt CW, 10 watt single sideband home roasted. And anything above 5 watt CW or 10 watt single sideband home or portable is considered raw. I just think it's a fun contest. Let me pause for a reset. So that's coming up this weekend as well. It's sponsored by the North Georgia QRP Club, and the exchange is signal report state, province, country, and then either peanut number. If you tell them you're going to participate, they'll assign you a peanut number, or power output if you're not. You're a non-peanut station, as they say. But it's a fun contest, and like I said, it takes place on 40, 20, and 15, and it's short. It's from 2200 UTC on the 7th to 2359. So it's like just under 2 hours, and it's a lot of fun. And you can experiment with QRP if you like. So good stuff, good times. Okay, so lots of activity on the bands this weekend. Hopefully propagation will be somewhat nice, and some folks will be able to work some folks. So that's a good thing. Lots of fun. All right. Let's see. I think that's all I had set to comment on or bring up on the net this evening. So do we have anybody, any YLs here with us, female ham radio operators that would like to share anything else with the group? If you forgot to mention something earlier, or if you have any news, announcements, or updates that you'd like to bring up now, please call now, AC4YL. Okay, let me try this again, actually. Oh my goodness. Let's go to Melanie. I didn't go to Melanie, AG4YL. All right, let's go to you. We didn't get you in here, and we don't want to miss you here. AG4YL, would you like to come on in and tell us what's going on and who's been an inspiration to you in amateur radio? Over to you, Melanie, AG4YL, AC4YL with the group.
AG4YL here, good evening, and I'm coming out of my tablet since I've been having some problems with my headset and computer, so I hope that my audio is good and that everybody is copying me well. I hope everyone's doing well this evening. I was kind of late getting to the net. I had to work quite late this evening, but I have heard probably 95% of the net, and it's been wonderful hearing everybody's stories. As for me, I suppose my original inspiration, I have a kind of a two-part story as to my ham story. My father was licensed. My mother was also licensed, but my dad was the active ham and was apparently, according to my much older brother, was quite a quite a ham radio operator, with a beautiful fist, and you know, he had his DXCC, who knows how many times over, with cards in hand. Back then you had to have your cards in hand. And he had his antennas and his call-ins and his Heathkit and all that stuff. He became a silent key when I was quite young, back in 1972. So I do remember him playing some radio. I do remember him playing some CW, but he wasn't as active in those last few years up to his death. He just wasn't in the best of health. So I think he might have lost some of his spark. My brother's not sure exactly what happened either. It could have been he had been there, done that, you know, did what he needed to do as far as ham radio went, and he liked to do other stuff too, and had a lot of other hobbies. So who knows? But I do remember him playing radio, and I suppose that was an inspiration. My mother always said, well, you can become a ham, you just have to learn the code. You just have to learn the code. You have to learn the code. I have a certain thing to memorizing stuff. And so learning the code was not going to be an option for me, at least at that time. Now there's a lot of different things and helpful things like CW ops and, you know, helpful computer programs and things like that, but back then that's not how it was done. And so that was kind of my barrier when I was younger. Let me pause and reset. Okay, there we go. I was looking at the list on the screen, and I still saw my call sign looked active, so I didn't want to pop back in until things sort of got unstuck, and I think they did. Anyway, it wouldn't be a Thursday evening that if the Echolink gremlins weren't out and about, right? But then many years passed, and I really didn't think too much about ham radio. I mean, back then, you know, in the 70s and on into the 80s, of course, this was all prior to the internet, I knew some hams, but I think they were more they were, you know, friends of the family. I think they were more, you know, into the local repeaters and the clubs and everything, and I don't know. I never saw a shack or antennas from either one of them. Perhaps they couldn't, you know, put them up where they lived, but I really didn't think too much about it until much later. So I guess my earliest inspiration was my dad, and then it just sort of happened by accident. I was on the internet looking for ways to build really good sort of semi-professional television antennas, and they all used antenna modeling, but the same modeling, easy NEC, the same thing they used for ham radio antennas, same modeling programs. And in searching for TV antennas, I ran into ham radio again, and it just sort of hit me in the face. Wow, ham radio is still alive. And then I found reference to this net. So I didn't see anything. This was back in, I think I started delving into this back in 2013. There's really nothing out there for YLs or YL related. But I found reference to this net eventually in late of 14, and that's when I decided to get my license. It was probably right after this net got started. And I got my license to get on the net to see if I wanted to be a ham. Figured, what the heck, you know? It doesn't cost much. I can afford it. So I studied and got my license and was inspired by these wonderful ladies on this net. Some of the early ones, of course, was Nisi K. Winnie Wallin, and Dawn, currently WA4YL, she wasn't then, Annie, 7MB, etc., everybody. I know Rosemary was on there quite early, KB4RM, and of course Laurie, K4UPI, and these people, you know, Laurie and Catherine, having been local, sort of my built-in Elmira's here, not too far away from my area in Georgia. So I was very, very, very fortunate, and I would say that those two ladies were a big inspiration locally as far as hands-on stuff, and you ladies here in this net, you are the net, so it's a collective thing. When I say the net, I mean you. Have been I timed out when I was finishing that bit. Not quite sure when it cut off, but when I say the net, I mean everybody here on the net. You are the net, and I appreciate all of your inspiration and your guidance, and for allowing me to share with you. And that is it for me. This is AG4WOW. I'll send this back to Catherine and the net.
Okay, very good, Melanie. Well, thank you very much for that. It's always great to hear your ham radio story and the experiences there, and it's been a fun ham radio ride. But Melanie and I have had a lot of fun doing forums for YLs at HamFest. We've done some in Huntsville and in Orlando and in Stone Mountain here in Georgia. We're getting ready to do one up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, coming up on the 20th of this month. So if any of you gals will be in the Chattanooga, Tennessee area, there is a HamFest going on Saturday the 20th from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. And Melanie and I will be doing a forum from 10 until noon. And so we're looking forward to having some fun and meeting some gals up there. There's a gal named Harriet that she's part of a group of YLs there in the Chattanooga area, part of their club, and they have really just gotten fired up and started a YL net, and they get together, I think, once a month, and they've done, I think, kit building and some other fun projects. I think they went to a museum one time. They are really enjoying learning more about amateur radio together and encouraging and inspiring one another as well. And so she reached out to Melanie and myself and asked if we would mind coming up and doing a forum. So we're looking forward to that and meeting the gals up there. We're excited, and Harriet's really excited to see us too. So we had a great phone conversation. So we're looking forward to meeting some more YLs to add to the family, and of course we'll invite them to join us here on this net and get the information and details on their net and share that with you gals as well, so you can join them. Their repeater that they use is also an Echolink node. I'm not sure how many connections it will hold up, but that's pretty cool. The drive from Atlanta to Chattanooga is about 2.5 hours there in EC, so not bad at all. It's definitely a lot shorter drive time than it is from here to Orlando. Oh, that's a fun ride, especially since 75 is always under construction. So, anyway, good times, right? So, very good. I saw Linda's comment in here about QRP. You know, we were talking about the Peanut Power Sprint and some other QRP contests going on this weekend and some CW sprints and stuff. But Linda commented about QRP made her longest contact on 5 watts phone. That's cool. Linda, you want to tell the group about it real quick? KC8PKY, AC4YL, and the group.
Yeah, at that time I was still living in Detroit, and I had my 817 with an Antron 99 strapped to the chimney, and I was doing a 10-meter contest, and I heard this call sign, and I grabbed my book and I looked it up, and I said, that's New Zealand, I'm going to work this guy, and I spent 20 minutes sending my call sign out, but I got him. And that's not bad, because an Antron 99, if you look that up, is actually a CB antenna, but tunes up real nice on 10 meters. And with that, back to the net, KC8PKY.
Oh, that's so awesome, Linda. Cool. I bet that was a fun contact for sure. Oh boy, it's those contacts you really remember. It's a lot of fun, you know, when you make your first DX contact, or you know, you first get a radio set up in your shack and you turn it on and you tune the bands and you hear Peru, or you hear France, or you hear Japan, or, you know, it's amazing. It's just like we often call it, it's like magic, you know, it's the magic that is amateur radio. So lots of fun stuff. Thanks, Linda, for sharing that experience with us. That's exciting, and hopefully, you know, encourage you gals to check out low power operating and a lot of the kit building projects that you can do. You can build a QRP transmitter and do that, and you can use it to practice your CW as well. So cool. All right, very good. Well, we've just got a few minutes left. Do we have anybody else that has any comments or anything else you want to bring up this evening before we close the net? Please call now, AC4YL. All right, Ann. Well, I'm not sure if you were trying to transmit something or just accidentally hit the button. I've done that myself a few times. So, Ann, if you had a comment or something that you wanted to say, I'll pass the mic back to you. N1YL, AC4YL with the group.
Actually, I was trying to type something on the bottom that I'll tell you by voice anyway. So I just wanted to say that I really like the Cookie Crumble and the Zombie Shuffle QRP contests, as well as the one this weekend. I've had a lot of fun with the QRP contest, and that's all I had to say, but I was trying to type it and I hit the mic by accident. I don't know exactly how, but back to net.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, hey, no worries. Hey, you saved you all that typing now. But yeah, you know, it's funny. You kind of got to watch which button you set to be your PTT button on your keyboard. I know, you know, myself, when I try to copy and paste these links and I'm putting them into the Echolink chat, or I'm putting them into the Dewdrop In chat, and I'm, you know, Control plus V is paste and Control plus C is copy. And so I have my left control key set to be the PTT key, so I have to remember that when I'm going to copy and paste a link and I'm not transmitting at the moment, just to be on the safe side, always use the right control key. It works just as well. But that helps keep me from keying up. But that's the way it goes. No worries, Dan. I was glad you were able to come back in and share your fun times with QRP. It is fun, you know, experiment, and you don't have to have a QRP transceiver to do it, just turn the power down on your HF radio and see who you can contact. That's fun stuff. And I can tell you, when Melanie and I were doing National Parks on the Air, we had one guy come in on, I think he was running 2 watts or something crazy. And, I mean, he was coming in clear as a bell. Could hear him nice and loud and no issues. It was just amazing. That's a good setup plus good band conditions, and there you go. You never know. So, all right. Well, we've reached the end of the net here, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for the evening. Thanks so much, ladies, for being here. We really appreciate it. Please don't forget to visit and post to the WILE OpNet Facebook group. Post news, updates, announcements, contests, photos, ham radio stuff, anything there that you like. Continue net topics that we cover here. If you've got a topic suggestion, look it there. And anything there in between weekly nets. We also encourage you to participate and post ham radio related questions, adventures, and everything else there on the WILEOpsGroups.io page as well. We'd like to thank Lauren, KC9ZHP, for live streaming and recording this net whenever possible and making it available to all through YouTube. We'd also like to thank Alara for the use of this Echolink conference node, and everyone linked and listening for your ongoing support of this net, YLs and OMs alike. Thank you to all the OMs listening in as well for your quiet support in giving us this time here. This is Catherine, AC4YL, closing out the WILE OpNet and returning the Alara conference node back to normal use. 33 ladies, thank you so much for being here and making this net what it is and supporting it. We'll see you all next week. Take care.